back to Roadside Nuggets, folks. My name is George, and we are live with 5D Full Disclosure. And it is beautiful Friday. Good Friday for everybody, at least I hope for everybody. It's always a good day for us in heaven. So basically today I wanted to really focus on, of course, the illusion, what we talk about every day. But let's go take a different approach at it this time around. And that definitely for our viewers and also our listeners here on 5D on Telegram. Oh, wait, I forgot to put the camera on. My bad, folks. There you go. That should work, I feel. I'm not quite sure. Oh, no. There we go. Had a little glitch on Telegram. Okay. You have to double check because sometimes these things are not going through. There you go. Alright, I see notification. Alright, live. Hello, people. We got comments already. That's beautiful. So today I wanted to definitely focus a lot more on just the individual course of life of ourselves, but let's step back and be more in general today. I hope everyone will be a lot more easier. As these energies are coming in, these equinox energies, everything's amplified and intense. It's already down to the details. So if in moments when we can be in general, if we can just look at the big picture, don't be so focused on the details about it, helps us move through the process a lot easier. It's more small, like flow. It's like water. It allows you to really process and move through the experience in really your own pace if you have that patience, for yourself. I feel a lot of times for people, and especially now that we're moving into that Libra energy, that balancing out, for one people in certain, aspects, I feel if they've mastered a certain amount of balance for themselves, then they really thrive in this energy. They really know how to benefit, and they just kind of just adapt more well with this balanced energy. It just kind of clicks into place, because they've mastered and worked on that part with themselves. The beings that have trouble with balance, I feel these are more of those moments, especially in these energies, where they have to go through the tests and lessons to actually learn more. If it has anything to do with boundaries, if it has anything to do with more how not limiting yourself, but more of slowing down and not just sticking to one extreme all the time 24/7 and basically adding up to a blowout or a burnout. Basically it's gonna help humanity adjust, because of course people are in a lot of different spots. It doesn't mean no one has anything to learn. It doesn't mean that people don't have places to expand further in. So of course it's ultimately for the highest for everyone. But I feel this is an important moment too, before we go more into October, which is literally right around the corner. It's I don't even know, we have a week left until October hits. So October, and once we get more into that middle point, then it's gonna really start getting to that cliffhanger moment where we just take a nosedive. So I feel definitely these balanced, more stable energies, helping everyone just kind of get an anchor, get gripped on everything, and also to learn, if it has to do with boundaries, it has to do with flow or balance, or what is harmony, what is that more for yourself in your life, in your experience. Not necessarily can you talk about what the definition of it, what does it look like to you? Is it something you can apply for yourself to where you can say, I am at peace, I am in more balance now, I'm in more harmony now than I was. Can you adapt and evolve with that? That's the real question. But it's highly necessary. This allows whatever needs to get up to get up and move on out. Because once we get into these deeper months, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be like fireworks going off deep within our own internal chamber of, the skeleton closet, so to speak. Everything that we've stuffed down, everything we haven't wanted to, bring out, it's like dirty laundry in the air time. A lot of stuff's getting pulled out. And ultimately it's not even that like something, an entity outside yourself is coming for it or is coming to reveal this. You're actually going to do this because as these planets shift, okay, it changes things with your consciousness. That's one of the awesome things I used to love, with the channelings and just reading about things, especially things from Cryon, about like just how the magnetism works with the consciousness, the magnetic field of the planet, and how basically all the different planets, they affect this magnetic field, and how, and whether going to like the regular spin or retrograde, going spinning backwards, that all has an effect on the magnetic field of the planet, and also our consciousness, also with the energy, or how our bodies respond to that pressure or that shift and change. And it's just fascinating to me how basically all this time, we have all these different, even though we have choice, right? And I can see how a lot of times we're like in religion, how they got stuck in this the deep belief systems where like things were happening to you, or things were the cause of certain superstitions and things, and a lot of times it just had to do with the effects of these cosmic bodies that were dancing through the stars, and they were just spinning and moving around the planet. But of course they were changing us, they were changing our perceptions, they were bringing other things up from within us in that moment, that they thought it was something else. It's like it just so happened that this alignment galactically happened, and like all these energetic frequencies were happening in that moment, and so it's like it's a confusing but also very interesting way to look at things in a bigger picture, where like you don't know everything that's going on, right? And so in that moment, any given thing can be taking place, and even beyond that, so many other things could be happening, pinging off of that one experience at that time that you don't even know is even existing, and so it's just like the entire experience, your life, it's beyond. Your life is beautiful, your life is amazing. Your life is a massive journey, a puzzle piece, of course, you get to put back together, but it has nothing to do with attachment. It has nothing to do with holding on to things or controlling some outcome, or trying to hold yourself to some strict expectation that you have to achieve a lifelong goal, right? Or even what you're really invested in. All those different things. If we could step back from that and realize like the person who wanted these things from the very beginning, you're really not that person anymore. You're outgrowing them. You're changing. If we look back on the dreams and wishes of the child, I still go back all the time, and it's just like immediately I'm there. And different things, the simple things I wanted, that I ever questioned was missing in life. That was one of the biggest things I asked as a child. Was why everyone was just so angry. Everywhere I went, like I lived on a lot of military bases, and we moved around to different military bases as a child in different states, and everybody was kind of like just there's like this very grim, like just like stern look, very hard, very cold sometimes, and nobody really looked happy. Nobody was like just chilling, having a good time. Everybody was just busy, very serious, business orientated. And it's interesting because you can see where the collective energy, like this is where I thought a lot with like the magnetic field, and also where in cities you have towns and little villages and things, and of course you have a smaller collective conscious fields, and those small collective conscious fields are also based off everyone's frequencies, their thoughts and everything, and the magnetic, how strong those different energetic frequencies are, And so you can see like the consciousness of a space or a region, like a particular city. Now, me and the fam, we've been traveling through a lot of different places, over the last couple of years, and all throughout the states and places we've been, like all the energies are different. The collective energy of the people, what the energy's like, how the people are responding. Are they communicative? Are they more withdrawn, docile? Like, what's going on? And everybody's very different. You can see how the different energies just collectively in each space are going to reflect those people. And it's interesting. It was just a fascinating observation. And I remember more so in one of these places we went to. The people were just very, very, very cold and just grumpy, absolutely purely just had a chip on their shoulder. Just were not expressive at all. It was literally just standing next to some of the people in line just to make an order on something. Is literally my whole front part of my torso, literally all the way up to my neck, was just constricted. It just felt like it was being squeezed, and you can just feel how much control they were literally just holding themselves in. Is just maintaining this exterior composure, I guess, somehow, and just I guess whatever. I'm not sure what it's supposed to mean or what they were trying to portray, but it was just weird how everyone was just kind of on this defense type thing, and those kinds of it's shocking that none of it has anything to do about life. You look at where people are in their belief systems, where people are in their limitations, where they'll put walls up as and you look at the relevance of it. Okay, what is this based off of? What is it coming from? It has nothing even to do with life. It's some stupid little thing that happened, something you can't let go of, a little attachment, or it's something that completely has nothing to do with them, but they're triggered and somehow because they're externalized with it. So now it's taking their power away. So of course it's going to affect them emotionally. So regardless of what it is, it's most of the issues and problems you look at, they're not these big things that the mind has blown them up to, right? That's one of the abilities that the ego has in the mind, is to over exaggerate, blow things out of proportion. It elaborates beyond the boundaries of truth on so many different things, where if you sit there long enough and you tell yourself these things, or you allow the thought loops to keep going, after a while, if you don't speak it, express it, or actually apply it in some way and actually see the experience yourself or come to the understanding, then ultimately at the while, all you have to listen to is just the thoughts, which now have just been filled with doubt, distrust, lack of faith. So by the time the actual experience even now presents it to you, it's like this massive elephant in the room, because you've given so much power, so much focus, so much, fear, that it's this thing, now it's just completely amplified, and so this is how much you have to process now and go through it and just release this and forgive yourself, be compassionate, nurturing, patient, all the different things that you weren't before that led you to the point of having this thing in your room with you. Now it requires you to do those same things that you were avoiding just to move through this process. So either way you put it, whether it's the easy road or the hard road, the way back to divinity is simple, and it's only through love, all the different forms of divine love, and that's non-negotiable. So you are required and accountable and responsible for that, just as everyone else is. And just because you fill all your time trying to do that and give that to everyone else does not give you the free pass not to do it for yourself. So there's no get out of jail free cards, no escapism, nothing. You can't use other people as a justification of why you left yourself out. You must also master this for yourself. And also, of course, ultimately it's for your benefit even, too, because the more you can master within yourself with love and experience and grow through and mature in, it's that much more you can do for others, right? But if we externalize and make it seem like, oh, well, I had to put others first before me, and it always has to be about everyone else before me, it's all right, you see how long it's gonna be an endless line of people, because your ego's always gonna have another person, and then that one too, line them all up, and you'll never have time for yourself. You keep getting delayed, stagnate, procrastinate, and then you never have that kind of energy to give to yourself, so now you get depleted. Men catch 22, what they don't tell you, what the ego won't tell you, is after a certain amount of time of you going through these experiences over and over and over again and realizing that nothing's coming back to you, now it's going to start falling to bitterness. Now it's going to start falling to regret, right? Which you don't want to be in those frequencies, because those frequencies actually spoil. It's like a rotten mold. It starts to rot away and taint anything that's beautiful and love and grand. You know, regret and resentment, bitterness, that energy will come for all the things we do enjoy, the things we do love, you know, because ultimately we're not being real with ourselves. We're not being accountable and real with ourselves on the fact that we are allowing ourselves to be depleted. We're, you know, allowing our energy to be taken away from us, or we're giving our power away. And since we want to accept this fact, now, since we're going to keep doing things that we do love, but now we're doing on a lesser depleted energetic, you know, in our body, you know, basically that's so much self-hatred, you know, not caring about your own fulfillment, but just basically using yourself as like, just as an object, and just keep producing. So you're going to do the things that you love, but now that you're doing the things that you love, but you're not getting the same energetic back, you're not getting the energetic exchange, the experience, you know, it's not reflecting what you're doing. Now it's breaking down, you know, to the bitterness and resentment. And that will spoil all the things that you do love doing, to a point where you give them up, you don't care about them anymore. And this is why people ultimately lose sight of them, of the things that do bring them joy, because they didn't use it as a tool in the highest way. You know, they didn't go about that practice in the highest way with love. You know, they try to escape. They try to hide within the things that they love doing, and that's what ultimately ruins and spoiled the things that they love to do, because they try to now use that as the escape. Right? So you can't use love as an escape, because then that destroys the whole experience itself, right? So this is where we get in this point where we were so used to the fight or flight, where we evade and try to jump ship the moment it gets a little too hairy, or like the room gets a little too hot, right? So when we get to this point, it's about the bravery and courage. It's about, even if you don't know, even if you absolutely have nothing on the script and you're on the spot, can you still be in your center, and can you still have faith and trust that it's still going to work out in some way? Because the bravery and courage, those are the frequencies that get you from that great big unknown spot where you got to take that leap, and there may be not a whole lot of collected information, awareness, or just ideas in the beginning. You got to go now, right? Bravery, courage, trusting yourself, being anchored in yourself. Once you arrive more, because most of the things you figure out, you're gonna figure out mid-flight again. By the time you're halfway through it, then it's gonna start hitting you like, oh yeah, I start seeing the synchronicities, it starts pinging, you know. But the big part of that test was you jumping. It was could you trust enough? Could you have faith enough in trusting the jump, that you were gonna arrive, that you were gonna be uplifted, that there was gonna be a result, that you were gonna reach a higher level within yourself and keep expanding, right? Because ultimately, it's kind of like in 3D, you know, in school, where they teach you all these things all year, but they kind of realize, you know, like, well, we just teach them all these things all year, but we don't test them, you know, and actually ask them what they know, what they're aware of. Then, you know, how much are they actually like integrating with? And on their side, they flipped it to where it's more like making sure they were really programming and conditioning us, whereas in the flip, on the higher way, you know, for us in this reality experience, this is where, when our lessons are coming, those lessons are, you know, in the higher divine form. Okay, let's see what you've learned. Okay, because you've gone through the awareness, you've got the code, you've got the ideas, you know, you've figured it out so many different times. You know, no one has to tell you it now, but in the experience, when it's happening, can you still choose it? And that's the big jump. It's like, you can't just be a thought all the time. It can't just be an idea or a concept all the time you can think about, but it's nothing you'll actually put in and apply and live. It's something you'll be. You won't be the example of it. You actually move into that intention. That's where we start. Mom said you gotta be the example. Period. There's no more talking. There's no more just like rambling on. You gotta be the example and be it. You gotta walk your talk. Apply it every moment. Put in your practice, your discipline. It's something we are becoming. Our higher selves. Gods of love. So in that, it's like you gotta be that. You gotta live that in your every breath. It's what your thoughts are. It's what your what your lifestyle is moving into. What you're choosing to do every day for love. How can you make this world a grander place for everyone and help everyone heal themselves and figure out just what we're gonna do now going forward. That's the big, most important concept right now. Is like, what are we gonna do with this whole mess on this planet? Because we already know, and again, it has nothing to do with what's going on outside. It has nothing to do with what's going on in the media, on TV, on the news, what they're not saying, what they're not showing you. Doesn't matter what we're finding on the internet. Doesn't matter what all these different things coming out of disclosure. Doesn't matter, right? We know it's going to reach a point when this entire grid's going to collapse. We're really, really close. And we know it's about to happen. When that collapses, there has to already be something to move into place to help facilitate and maintain that stability. Right. This is another reason why we've already created the first transitional government. And moving that in effect, and everyone getting on board with that. But in a lot of other ways, a lot of other moms putting a lot of things into effect, because we already know this is about to happen. And it doesn't have to be this massive, chaotic, spin out fest that everyone just comes to a halt and we just we're robbing stores now, we're shooting people in the streets, we're it's like everyone just loses their sanity and acts like savages. Nobody said we actually had to turn out that way, go down that road. I'm good on that. I'm pretty sure everybody else is good on that. I mean, we've had quite a long road all the way to this point already. I feel like we can all just smoke a joint in the street and just chill out. We just have a massive blunt day. Everybody have blunt day. Yeah, we'll say that. That's a really good plan. And then everybody on the planet or in this country just chills out. And then we'll go through the list. We'll go through all the different things that we just got hit off with disclosure. We'll talk about all the big pointers, and we'll get it going. We'll get some music going, get the big bass out. I'm telling you, it'll be an awesome, total switch over. It can be peaceful. It could be vibing, smooth, like butter. It could be a really awesome experience for everyone just to come back together after we're just all this crap we just been dealing with the entire time, and realize, what? I love you. Yeah, man, I love you too. I love you. Everybody loves everybody, right? Just go back to this. All right, let's get this straight. All right, we're all in the same boat, and this boat's going somewhere. So we all got to get ourselves situated on the same page. Okay, it could be simple. It doesn't have to be this massive riot, zombie apocalyptic fallout thing that people talk about all the time. It doesn't have to be that dramatic. And I feel it actually is getting to a point where I've actually had a privilege of talking to quite a few people, just in passing this week, and surprisingly, a lot of people are. It has nothing even to do with them being open, to these things. It's beyond that, because even at that point, at one point, and throughout the years, I would say that would be an achievement for me, just with the type of things we would say out of our mouth, but it wasn't that people just could listen and they got it. No, they really got it. They're really online. They were able to agree and have an actual conversation and completely just the codes and download just awesome. The second wave is coming online so fast, and by the time that hits full peak, whatever that is, and it starts to move on over, we're gonna be riding through people, and it won't be that much longer for the third wave to wake up. So, these, again, it's only a matter of moments, and the divine plan is very highly attuned and divinely set for the right moment, whenever that is. So all we got to do to that point, again, is just being focused, being humbled, yes, centered, and just keep moving this experience. There's like a lot of shit coming up, and a lot of it doesn't look pretty, so there's no such thing as like a perfect ascension or the best ascension. Like there's no competition, there's no like awards or anything going on. Like the human experience, and also the human experiment, the 3D experiment going on, that mom has always referred to in a lot of ways throughout the years, talking about how it's always been an experiment down here. This whole experience has been a very crazy ride for all of humanity. And so in the cleaning up of that, this is where you gotta be, yes, compassionate, but you also have to be so incredibly real with yourself. Okay? You look at this planet, look at your life, look at your whole mess. It's a mess. Okay? You just gotta accept that it's a mess. Like, you gotta get out of this prudish, like, oh well, it's all just like, it's you can't look at it, it's just good. There's no such thing as perfection. There's no such thing as like this, I don't even know really the right word, because there's a couple of different things wrapped into one, but this energy where we keep hiding ourselves from other people, and not wanting other people to see the rawness, in our emotions, in our expression, and what's going on. Is how we're moving through the experience. We want people to see the rawness coming through us, what the real us, and how we are us in that moment, and where we're dealing with that, and what that looks like, what that experience is like. We don't want people, to see us, be aware of it, to have observation of it. We got to get out of that whole, only wanting to sell the best parts of ourselves programming. And it's a programming and conditioning, definitely. And I feel I did that a lot, like especially in high school, where there was so much energy burnt up in trying to conceal different parts of yourself that you didn't want to be in awareness of other people, and yet there's so much work being put into all these certain parts you would only show other people. We got to get out of that conditioning where we're just, it's almost like a staged puppet, almost like a trained puppet in a lot of ways. Like, you have a set amount of moves, set amount of facial features, set amount of different lines you can say, but once you run out of that, it's like, game over. You gotta like reset, or like you gotta like exit stage left, or like it's a weird energy where you only try to sell the best parts of yourself, the ones that you've worked on the most, the ones that you've practiced the most, the ones that that you're most comfortable or most trusting or confident of other people experiencing that side of you. We gotta let the walls down to where there's no separation. It's all you. You are a windstorm of emotions and different expression and different expression features that can come through your body and your face and your arms and every other which way. And all of it's meant to be seen and observed, and it adds more to the art and to the expression itself. But when we try to cut these parts of ourselves off, where we focus so much on our face or our arms or our bodies or our teeth or the way our voice sounds, or how all those different things, it starts to break up your divine creative art that really is just organic and natural to you, and it just flows with all that you are. That's what your essence is. Your essence flows through your entire being and everything that you do. That's your whole expression of your whole self. You can't just pick it apart and choose to, oh well, this and this is where people get so fake and superficial in 3D, where they focus so much on the smile. They have to have the perfect smile, and they have to go to the dentist and have all this teeth work done, have everything straight and bleached perfectly white. And it's like all. I'll share. This is actually gonna lead into something else because it's interesting. But the amount of thoughts that you put into something like that, and did you ever ask yourself? Because a lot of people, I find it interesting if you look at those reviews, you know, people that go through those experiences, and like their teeth somehow got worse after them going through those experiences and keep going to the dentist back and back and back and having work done and all that. Their teeth actually got worse, more worse after that. It was really fine for a moment, and then their oral health care just started like declining, you know, until, you know, I guess they want to go back and have the same procedure done again. But it's like, how did it ever get to that point where it got so bad? Because they were perfectly fine before you messed with them. You know, it's like, anyway, the thoughts have really powerful ways of contorting or causing things in the body. But I was going to share this too. I was actually pretty much had like scoliosis like years ago, especially when I showed up to mission. Mom was already starting to work on my back and my spine before I just got to mission. But even on mission, like, it was crazy. Like, it was so bad to the point where, like, I remember I couldn't even sit in like crisscross applesauce. Like, I have to say the whole thing, but like crisscross, you know, like an Indian, like you sit in like the whole thing around the fire, you know, like I couldn't do that. Like my skeletal, my spine and my, what they call the coccyx and everything, where your tailbone and like your hip bones and everything, like everything was so off that I remember, like, every time I went to go sit in that position, like my whole body would fall, I would fall to the side. And so I had to like literally hold myself up. And it was this crazy thing, like how much my joints and everything were just so locked, and there was no flexibility at all, you know. And I've done a lot of investigating through this, like, over the years, and this working with mom and like my back and my spine healing. And now, like today, like my back is completely straight. It's completely straight. Like my spine has never been this straight in my entire life, and to where it was almost to the point, like, when I would sit in the car to drive, like, really, like, my back would be so, like, I would be, like, kind of, like, driving sideways. It would look weird, you know, because that's literally, like, it would not be able to bend. And how much, there was something that mom had stated in Florida a couple years ago. And it was actually something like that he that shall not be named had stated at one point. He that shall not be named had stated this one time 2 years ago in Florida. He was like, you know, mom, he's like, you know, George doesn't have a core. And mom was like, she kept looking over, and like she like did like these dragon eyes thing, you know. She's like taking puffs of her cigarette. She kept just like looking over the corner of her eyes with her eyes squinting at me. And I was like started like I was like, oh shit, what's happening? But she was like agreeing to a certain extent, because like to this point I've found out now is, you know, a lot of, especially with the solar plexus and that middle part of your energetic system, if you have so much doubt, which I mean I've suffered from a lot of doubt, you know, lack of confidence, lack of self-esteem, you know, internal will, power struggle with my own self, you know, and a lot of things just with the solar plexus, to where that strong core in myself, my own empowerment was all over the place. And so just with my spine and everything like that, I had a lot of energetic backlash on my whole skeletal structure, to where my body really physically took the hits, because that energy was very old. It stemmed from my childhood. So over years and years and years, my body just started taking hits and hits from those belief systems and those thoughts, to the point where it just could no longer handle the energy, and the energy started contorting my spinal cord, you know, literally to the point where my body just couldn't fight it off. So and I had in those moments I really had to like concentrate and like grab onto something and like bend my body to really get my body to kind of be in the right position. But if I let go of like the wall or a chair, my body would immediately go back to that contorted state. And it was actually really frustrating because I didn't know what was happening, with my spine and everything. But that's what happens with having so many belief systems and just detrimental like thoughts that just are like so undermining to yourself, to where like you like just have these degrading thoughts about yourself that just are so just like they're just shit basically. So I'm not even gonna go into them. Like they're just very horrible thoughts to have about yourself, to where that literally has massive physical effects on your body. At some point, after accumulating to a certain point, it starts to physically manifest, and the body starts to go through the struggle of reflecting this energy that's built up but's not releasing because you're not being accountable of it. You're just throwing energetics out, but it's building up somewhere. And so definitely this is where, again, it's not just about self-love, but it's also about energetic responsibility. Because at some point we realize our energy is not just disappearing. Everything you say, you do, and it's not just like floating off and disappearing. It's having some kind of effect across the universe and the creation. And so it's going to get to a point where the energy start amping up even more, and we start manifesting instantly more, where we will have bigger roles to play within creation and also on this planet. So where in that point in between do we have the rest of the people on this planet on board with realizing, okay, this is a real thing, we gotta get this under wraps, because we can't have a bunch of people out here just like with rampant thoughts and different manifesting all kinds of crazy things to the timeline. We gotta come to an agreement, a level playing field, same page, and we gotta all agree on like a trajectory that we're going on, and we can all move forward, and then we can all support that highest timeline that we're moving towards, with all of our our thoughts, our feelings, our hearts being centered, our efforts, all of our everything that we're doing. It's that much more of an amplification of everything. We can build out like 5D freaking fast. Are you kidding me? We're manifesting probably tomorrow. Who knows? Who knows how many people on this planet we need to be like fully online to actually manifest 5D and actually like make that jump? Who knows? But we are not that far off, and I'm definitely telling you, like, Mom would not have, ascended if it wasn't all completely set up and ready to go from the jump. So things are just happening as the chips fall. So everybody else just has to breathe, has to flow with patience, and just focus on themselves. Make sure that they are very well, grounded, anchored, taking care of themselves. Make sure they are prepared for whatever is about to pop off, and for whatever reason I've gotten pinged on Australia twice today, and definitely I've gotten pinged on Igor too, so I'm going to reach out to Igor later tonight, but I don't know, maybe something in Australia is about to pop off, but definitely I've been hearing about Australia a lot lately, and then it came to me twice today, and then like also Igor, I was like, interesting, that's like a lot of energy, but Mom's got surprises, surprise patties up her sleeve for everybody. So, hey Terry, Diane, got Igor, Lisa, got Valeska Thompson, Luis, got Charity on, Jason Davis, Ashra Lynn, oh, I love you all. Cool, yo. Self-preservation is not going to save you, humanity. You gotta be real with yourself. You gotta get rid of the ego. So the whole shell thing, and And I feel Buddha and Jerry played on their live stream. I feel it was like 2 days ago, 2 mornings ago. It was with Mom was talking about the chicken and the egg, and talking about and Mom did say that at one point, that the ego was important at one point. And this is where a lot of people, spiritualists and people who are like in the light worker community, where they try to defend the ego, try to say that the ego is good, that you're supposed to evolve with your ego, you're supposed to keep it. Like, they're going based off of this old belief system, and this is where belief systems have to be dissolved. You know, they're not necessarily really more beliefs, or they may have been something that served at one point, but it was never meant to be put into law to eternally live by, because it's changed now, it's evolved. Things have grown beyond what it was before. And so this is where Mom, God has said, yes, the ego was important for us at one time. But we are now beyond that point. We no longer need the ego in our state of evolution. We've come so far in evolution at this point where it's now more of a hindrance. It's something that's getting in the way. And because it was something, needed at one point. It was more meant for our protection and our survival, basically. And if you look back at the crazy freaking trail we've left for ourselves, what they tell you in the books is only like 1/10 of the actual real truth, and that's even crazy what they tell you. So just imagine another 9/10 of the same crazy, even more jacked up and amplified and crazier. That's what we needed the ego for, to survive and actually, so we can get to this point. And sometimes, especially back in darker times, sometimes you needed to be an asshole just so you could be safe and you could just do your work and do what you got on this planet for. Like, sometimes people just had to punch somebody in the face just to get a point across, because that was the highest point at that time, because that's how thick people were at the time. You don't know, right? But if we stay stuck there, it has nothing to do with what's going on right now, and you're going to miss all the signs, miss all the codes. You're going to be lost in the sauce. We don't gotta go through that experience, right? So this is where we got to let go, we got to be present, got to be clear, crystal clear. So let it to flow like butter across the toast. Oh, I love you too, Maria. Lots of love from Austria. Dang, I wish I had that video. I tried to find a video. I played it probably like a couple months ago, and it was a really, really good video of a woman that was speaking. She was speaking. It was I guess like a pep rally type fashion. It was like outside and a big billboard behind her, and she was basically talking about the Constitution and the loopholes, and how basically with the vaccine and how they can find you at fault. And I don't want to like butcher the words. She had a really good talking piece that she shared, but she really got the whole crowd amped up, and she was going for it. I'm gonna try to find that and have it for tomorrow for y'all, but that's what I try to find for today. But it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter where we're at with the information. I know everyone's gets really excited about new disclosures coming out too, and that stuff is important to be aware, and also so you can grow and expand, heal, forgive. Yes, but if all you think ascension is for you is just the information, like that's a big gap and what you are missing out on. And a lot of it requires more for yourself. For your own growth and healing and release. I know there's a lot of people that are solely in this game just for, information about UFOs and space technology and aliens and all these different things. And it's more of like the fascinating information, but none of it is something that they're in a way at the level of internalizing at this point. Like they actually care to internalize this and learn from it, or grow in the sense of the spirituality aspect. They're like in this like little boy, little girl in an amusement theme park, like constantly excited with impulse, like constantly like whoa, shiny, crazy, new. But it's like nothing is like coming through and processing, and they're like, okay, it's it's an interesting energy, and a lot of people fight with that. I had that, I feel, at one point. I had a lot of different things, and I just grew out of them. But it's definitely something that gets in the way of people being able to spiritually internalize with things and reflect on that with themselves, with that, perspective, because it's more material. It's more like it's external information, external validation and proof and evidence, and then that's what they've based their security and their joy off of is the physical material proof of something that they define as real, and it's only real if it's like this, because if it's not real to them. They can't accept it, and that's a big issue with people being able to accept the things you can't touch and feel. What about the angels? What about mom? What about all of the galactics and things with everything going on? It's like there's so many things you can't touch and feel right now. But if you stay stuck to like it doesn't exist, if I can't touch and feel it right now, that's a very far out there belief system and just rejection of even allowing yourself to learn something new. It's just flat out lazy, half-assed too, honestly. Because it's like this baby brat that's been developed to the point where like if they can't have an on-demand button that they press and it happens now for them and instant gratification, it's not real. And it's like there's no sense or intention or urge to work for, to learn or grow, mature through that process. They don't want to do that. The effort and the intention for that's gone. If they cannot do it or get it right now, it's not real. And that's the way they choose to accept life. It doesn't mean it's real, but that's how delusional these people are. That's crazy. Completely just ripping yourself out of present moment reality just simply because something will not happen the way you wish it to be. It's total rebellion of truth just because you don't have your way with it. It's interesting behavior. But a lot of these are childish behaviors and things that we have carried over from our own childhood, our own growing up, and just the ways we've had to deal with ourselves, moving into adulthood, and what that really looked like for ourselves. How do we behave, act, go about doing that? What parts of that self do we actually externalize and show and reflect to other people to let them know that I am of this? And it's like playing the part, selling the part of yourself that gets you the reflection back that you want. It's like total buy and trade, And these things can go into a lot of issues with where people go into get into relationships, or they get into like teamwork dynamics, or they get into any kind of type of thing where it has to do with two or more individual beings, and then whatever dynamic is going on, also whatever internal complications are going on, they add to the mix. So now you have a big cesspool, a big massive table full of dysfunction, and the more people are aware, the more people are accountable and self-reflective and observant, the more they can guide their own self through the higher perspective, the highest vibration way of expressing themselves. And then of course now you have that whole group unity experience because everyone is being able to do that for themselves, self-empowered. So it looks like a lot, but it's actually more simply said than done, and everyone can do it and everyone can move into that space. It takes moments. You gotta allow everyone to express it, share it, and just get it out. So I love you all. I don't see any comments. Love is what we need. Love is what we need, and hugs. Yes, lots of hugs. The biggest piece that still needs to be disclosed to trigger full release is mom's story, her story. Oh yeah, that is something. That's gonna be a massive thing coming in. Who knows when that's gonna come. We've had a lot of I call them sneaky previews, sneak previews, without last month, or not month, but last year or so, last 2 months or 2 years. We had the whole HBO thing, or not the HBO thing. We had the whole they had Dr. Buttface. That's what I was like. What did we call him? Dr. Buttface. We had him, and then had like a couple of other different videos were put out and stuff. So like Mom's hit like it in big awarenesses and a couple different times where people all over the place. There's like massive floods of people. Every single time Mom would go on TV or they played something like that on air, like, and people would be like booking or sending us messages or emailing us and stuff, and it's just they're just previews. Just kind of like, oh, here's a flyer here, oh, here's a flyer here, and then dun da da da, like massive, big, huge Broadway show production. Preview is it's just gonna come out of nowhere. It's gonna take the whole world by surprise. So it is what it is. Mom's having fun, just with the parade. She's having fun with the show, directing everything, and just sending everything out on cue with what she wants and how the movie needs to go down. And so it's incredibly exciting. It's interesting. We are the teams are happy, and we are we're so in love with everything, and we're just grateful to Mom for everything that she did, all the work she's done, and we're just honored to be here and to prepare ourselves and everybody else for what is about to really pop off. And it's incredibly exciting. There's so many things happening with I don't know what that is. There's so many things happening along with oh, it's an alarm. Is that my phone? But definitely everyone, the energies from the equinox are still kicking in. If you haven't done the ceremonies or anything like that, definitely do those. And we still got like 2 more days left, of really high amplified energy from that. So we can just get those ceremonies knocked out, and we can that noise is so distracting. You just get those ceremonies knocked out. Water, definitely. And that's another cool thing too. Talking about tobacco, I'm not sure if anyone, if I know there's a lot of people that still have resistance to smoking that. It's a really good belief system to crack. If you feel brave enough to test the waters with that and just to see how you fare with that. I mean, I'm not no one's telling you to go sit there and just smoke a full blown a pack. If you don't smoke cigarettes, but starting to work with plant medicine, starting to work with the earth energy a lot more will help your body and just you feel a lot more anchored and more stable in your experience going forward in a lot of ways. And we only smoke organic tobacco, so we don't buy all the crap that's in cartridge boxes, pre-rolled or anything that has a lot of stuffies in it. We get the pouches and then we just roll it in a rolling tray, put the paper in there, and roll cigarettes that way. And it's a meditation. It's a process. You get to honor and appreciate the process of actually start to finish and actually appreciate what you are creating. And just put love in it and pray over it, and it's an awesome process. So definitely encourage you all to play, experiment. Children experiment. They're very curious. They love to have fun and just try new things and just see what their experience is for them. So honor yourself, allow yourself to break out of your belief systems, your boundaries and boxes, and do something new. Shake your leg and see what happens. We love you all so much. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you tomorrow morning bright and early with I feel maybe Buddha and Jerry tomorrow morning. It's either Buddha or Jerry or Kat and Al. Who knows? But tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Mountain Time and 8 a.m. Eastern Time, we will be back with you all. And also we have in 2 or 1 hour we have a class with old Mr. Gabriel. So definitely, if those of you that are going to be a part of the class tonight, love you all. See you there, and everyone have a splendid night and stay in the highest states of joy you can be in. Okay, love you.